Hello and welcome back to Pints with Pals. I'm Mike, your northernmost host. I haven't said that in a while. And with me today are Jeremy and Jason. How's it going, guys?
Going good.
What's going on?
This
I
is
think in this episode, I think we're gonna ask for a GoFundMe page so we can get Jason a new T-shirt.
Yeah, right.
Save
Same
Ferris.
shirt over. Save Ferris. It's my sleep shirt.
Oh, there you go.
Today's episode is special for me more specifically probably than Jason, but I
Or Jeremy.
I requested. Well, Jeremy is the reason that this exists, but yeah, the this beer was a brainchild of Jeremy, but fueled by my request, I think.
By your desire.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a bourbon coconut vanilla stout, and Jeremy can kind of go into like details on it, but it is a home brew, from the cellars of Mr. Jeremy, and he was able to like bring it out to me, and it's been aging for quite a while, I think.
Oh yeah, since November is when I bottled it. November
19th.
19th. Yeah. Sitting around for quite a while. Yeah, Mike would just spitballing one day. It was like, hey, I'm really into like barrel aged beers, which you guys haven't noticed yet, and I want one that's like coconut and maybe some vanilla and barrel aged, blah blah blah. I was like, I wonder if I could do something like that. Okay, I can't barrel age anything, but I thought about it for a while and like, well, I've never done anything this complex, and this was definitely more complex than anything I've ever done. I'll get into the the mishaps later, but yeah. But yeah, so we usually crack open our bottles right now, but we already cheated, so we already poured ours because of the mishaps. Plus, it gives it a chance to warm up a little bit. It's a stout, so I don't want it too cold. I don't like them that cold.
Definitely a stout.
It is black, yeah.
Cannot see through it.
No.
So, as you can see by the title, it's sort of it's a new category, we'll say. It. I'm trying it. I don't care.
All right.
Oh, go for it. I'm curious what you guys think. Because they're all bottle conditions, so there's always those weird one-offs too.
It was bottle condition, or it was not?
Yeah, it was. They're all bottle condition.
So, in trying to pour this, because one of the mishaps caused it to be to have coconut basically floatings in it, floaties.
Particulate, I say.
So we were trying to limit that by pouring it through like a strainer to begin with. All that really did for me is remove any chance of it having kind of any head whatsoever. I think the next one I'm gonna not do that and just chew the floaties, because it really kind of broke all of because my whole glass foamed up, and then I lost basically all the head that it would ever have. I think I just basically, and then the strainer didn't do anything. So yeah, but still delicious.
It is very good.
Very coconut smelling.
I smell the coconut. I don't taste much coconut. Yes, it is. It tastes like a barrel aged stout. It's good. I do get some coconut. It gets some sweetness in it. It's
yeah, it's malty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good.
So I feel like it's changed a little bit, and I haven't had ones. I think I had a half full one a few months ago, but it's definitely changed from February when I was in Michigan. I find it for myself. I get like a little bit of a metallic flavor. I'm not sure what causes that, but it kind of that's what I'm tasting.
Oh, I do get that a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm not sure what causes that, and I don't know if it's just age.
I think it was from the strainer.
You could have leached. I don't know. That'd be a good triangle test right there.
Right.
But these are not easy drinking beers. They're like 9.2%. So they're
I see that as I keep trying to sip or get some taste, and it's like, oh, okay.
How did you do the bourbon? Did you?
Yeah, I'm curious. I really want some notes.
Okay, so I just talk about the typical brew day. So I brewed it just like any other beer, right? So I go through the process. I'll talk about the recipe towards the end of the episode, like I always do. So when I was getting ready to add all the adjuncts, which I added coconut flakes, and then I'll talk about like the other stuff here in a second. So with the coconut, I bought like 600 grams of coconut. I toasted them. Never toasted coconut before. Coconut's one of those things you really got to keep an eye on. That stuff will burn quick.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so I toasted all of that and I put it in a huge hot bag, and I submerged that into the wort after it already like was fermenting for like, I think it fermented for like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that. So I added that in there just to get that kind of going. So that sat for like a few days. I probably no one would know. I probably would have let it sit for like a week or maybe longer to actually impart more of the coconut flavor into it. But I'm kind of glad I didn't. What happened was I didn't tie the top very tight.
Oh.
So as it just kind of sat there and bobbed and did its thing, and all the coconuts started going into the wort itself. So there's a lot of floaties or particulates or whatever you want to call it in there. So I was like, so I was stressing about that. And so I reached all over the internet. Oh yeah, you can see it on the rim of yours a little bit. So I reached out the internet. Oh, that could be the oil too. I guess another thing should back up. Like, since I did toast it, I guess I'll release some of the oils that's already in there too. So which causes it to kind of have a weird like slick film to it. But yeah, it's like I reached out to Reddit, my homebrew groups, and it says like that. I said, don't worry about it. Just leave it the way it is. Ain't gonna hurt nobody. One person said like serve it with like almond joys.
Mm.
You know, kind of just play on the whole coconut thing.
Yeah,
that's not a bad idea.
Did you add?
So
go ahead.
No, go ahead. You ask away.
Is there any chocolate in it, or I guess you're getting that from the malt?
So I did use chocolate malt.
That's definitely smell it.
Yeah.
And taste.
It should give a little bit of bitterness too, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely feel like that oiliness.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you said that, I'm like, I think that's like it's like a coconut oil. Like if you've ever like tried to make like toothpaste with like coconut oil or use that to cook.
Yeah.
What is it coconut oil that's like
flossing?
Yeah, I feel like they're coconut oil or there was some oil. I think it's coconut oil. That's like just basically everybody's like remedy for everything. It's like, just throw some coconut oil on it and it fixes it. Your car won't start. Rub some coconut oil on it.
Well, the Michigan is burners, right?
Yeah.
Right. Pours burners. So from there, I let it sit for like a few days, and then I strained all that out, and then it was time to, before I did that, I was trying to figure out, I was like, how am I going to get this bourbon vanilla? Well, I thought about buying some type of bourbon, getting vanilla beans, and making my own little tincture, basically. But at the time, I was already pretty deep on price point on this grain build, and I didn't want to spend any more money because like buy like 5 vanilla beans like $15-20 easily.
Yeah.
And I only needed 1, so like that's a lot of money just for 1 bean. So I started going to the liquor store. I'm looking around, so I found some bourbons with vanilla in there, and I bought all the shooters I could try, tasted them all, see which one I liked. I actually found one that I enjoyed. I don't remember which one it was. Jim Beam, maybe. I think it was Jim Beam vanilla. Was like the better of all of them that I had. And so at the very end, I added 250 milliliters of Jim Beam vanilla to the wort.
That's smart. That's really smart to like get to use the bourbon in order to get the like vanilla flavor as well.
Yeah,
because you get the bourbon and the vanilla flavor from the one thing. That's pretty cool.
Right.
I don't think I knew that.
I can't remember the math I had to do. I looked up a few different calculators trying to figure out like I had this much alcohol or with the bourbon, whatever, plus this is my beer. Like what kind of gravity am I looking at? So I took a while to figure out, and everything came out to around like 9 point something. So I just rounded up. I didn't round it. I just used like the medium, which was like 9.2. But yeah, it was fun though. It was really interesting. I'm glad it turned out better when I thought it was going to turn out. 'Cause I was so paranoid with the floaters in it and all sorts of stuff like that. It's like, oh, it's gonna be so gross. It's supposed to be a gift. I don't know what to do.
No, it definitely. As it warms up, I get more and more coconut. But I guess it could be the oil that you're saying. Maybe I'll just float to the top.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think the next one I'm not going to try and strain it. I think I would rather have because I'm still getting those floaties anyway, and I'd like to get it because it has more head than a lot of,
Yeah.
or it had more head, or at least more fizz than a lot of like the normal barrel aged bourbons, because it's not technically barrel aged; it's just a bourbon
No,
added
just
to
bourbon,
it. So
yeah.
it kind of does the same thing somewhat. So
Because I thought about like I could have ordered some oak spirals, I think that's what they're called, and could have charred them myself and soak the bourbon and that like in the freezer for whatever, and then added that into the wort. Um, but of course, this was all the stuff that I learned like after the fact. It was the stuff I knew right off the bat. Like I've talked to people, this is what I'm doing, this is what I made. Like, oh, you could have done this, you could have done that. I'm like,
shoulda, coulda,
yeah, that
woulda
smells
is
cooler.
something. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. I think it's a good first attempt for you to do, because this is the first time you did anything of this magnitude, essentially.
Yeah,
Magnitude,
most
yeah.
definitely. Yeah, it's like I said, it was so. I like making more simple-ish beers, I guess, or what I think are simple. This was not simple.
Well, that
A
goes
lot
back
of
to like
moving parts. So
you gotta master the skill before you like go on the journey, so to speak, because like you're gonna really want to make sure you can get the easier the cleaner ones to be right before you want to like jump into like experimenting with something that's going to cost you $200 or $300 in just grain, essentially. So yeah, it's kind of terrifying with like the thought of doing like an imperial of some sort and then messing it up, or like it stalls and then you don't know what to do, and it's like, okay, well now I just have like basically beer juice. it's not fermenting correctly, and it's like super sweet.
Yeah,
that would be so gross.
that's fun though. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I got one hard one underneath my belt. So I think this hard one also taught me some more easier ones too. Like, don't be afraid of using brewing salts and stuff like that, because stouts have a certain water profile that like a lager doesn't have. So like I had to do research on that kind of stuff. So to dig deeper into home brewing, which I do anyways for funsies, but I usually kind of stick with the same ones I like to do. Because I usually make like a cream ale every year. I make the blueberry honey, which you boys better get down here because I only got a couple 6-packs left. They're going quick.
I'm leaving for a month. I don't know. It'll be a minute. September,
swing by and grab
October.
it as you leave.
Yeah. I'll have the plane stop by and grab it.
There you go. Then I'll just jump in the backseat and go with you.
Yeah. I've already got my breweries picked out for the trip. So.
Oh, nice. So I guess one thing we talked about the ABV of it being 9.2, but it has an IBU of 44. And I can't recall what like an average IBU for most barrel aged beers are, but I feel like mine might be a little higher than most.
It almost tastes like the brown a little bit to me because of that. I think I'm getting like a little bit of the like a brown ale hint. Like it's almost like your maple brown ale, but less mapley and more hoppy, I think. So you said you used malts. Do you often use malts? Have you often used malts, or do you always use malts? I don't really know how that works as far as.
I always used malt grain. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if they were
Once in a while. I mean,
malty
I've used like DME before, which is dry malt extract. I've used that before. But that was more for like when I first started. I don't know. I kind of jumped pretty quick into home brewing with brew in the bag, because like I thought I was gonna be the guy that would just use kits all the time, and I think I only did a few kits, and then I just brew in a bag, just jumped right in real quick with it. Thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah. I wasn't sure. I felt like it seemed like brew in a bag was a little bit cheaty when you first were telling me about it, but then there's still so much that goes into it. It's like building a computer or something where you get all the parts. You're still building the computer, but you have to put everything together yourself versus like getting a pre-built computer, I think. Where I just go to the store and buy my beer. You're going to the store to buy the kit to make your beer. It's like making a table, I guess, would be a better analogy. It's like It's like you still have to put all the things together. It's no
Yeah.
IKEA. You just get like a board and you have to make the board into what you're looking for versus
No.
But yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
So looking at your recipe, it does say vanilla bean pod. Did you use a vanilla bean pod, or you just went
No,
with
that was the
okay.
original recipe.
Oh, okay.
I still kind of want to attempt to do that. I want to make my own tincture and stuff like that. I want to try to get like a more expensive bourbon just to see what could that bring to the table. I would also like to try to do those oak spirals or whatever, nuggets or whatever they're called. Try that as well. Because my idea is like I've had Death by Coconut by Oscar Blues a long time ago, and I wanted that coconut flavor to come through with the bourbon. I thought that would be really good. But obviously, you guys don't taste much coconut. Again, I think I was just afraid because I didn't know how long to keep it in there for. It was just one of those things that were just like, oh, just keep it in as long as you want.
Yeah, I mean, I do get coconut. It's just as it's warmed up or it's warming up, I get it. Excuse me.
Yeah. You're excused.
There's no excuse.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do next with a big experimental beer?
Ooh. That is a very good question, though. I have, I guess, so I was talking earlier. I don't know if Mike was on here or not, but I think the next stout I would like to try to do is I want to do a peanut butter milk stout.
Yeah.
And I want to go with PB powder. I think I'm going to go that route.
What kind of
You know
powder?
what PB powder is? PB powder? Peanut butter powder?
PB.
PB.
Okay.
Hold on, I got some PB2,
boy.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think I've
And
ever
then
had
I already
that.
have like lactose. Yeah, so it's really good in oatmeal. If you like peanut butter, but you don't like Jif for some reason, and you just use that, have all the extra oils and crap like that. But I think that's the next big beer I want to try to do.
Guy, right?
Yeah, that right there. Yep. I would probably buy a jar that size too.
So
That won't be cheap.
I was gonna say,
Pretty expensive beer.
if money were no object and you could just fail, what would you want to try? Is that, you know what I mean? Like if you failed, it wouldn't be like a big deal. I mean, it would be a big deal because you'd be really sad about yourself. But like, if you were to get a grain bill provided to you, like through if we got sponsored, let's say, and they're like, hey, we want to have you try and make whatever you want, and then is there anything that's like a wish list kind of item, like a imperial something, or is it just you are having more fun doing
There's
these?
a few different ones that pop in my head. Yeah, but like if money was no object kind of thing, like I wouldn't mind going all the way out and do a barrel aged beer of some sort. Like I actually go out and get a really good barrel from some high end. Like because again, those things like even the cheap end barrels are like $200 easily. So I assume a high end is going to be 500 plus. So get a good barrel. I would shoot for. It would be a pastry stout. Not that I would definitely go for like a big fat pastry stout, like something that's just going to start off like 12% by itself before you put it into a barrel. That'd be expensive, just all the grains you would need. That'd be about imperial right there. For flavors, I wouldn't mind going for like for pastry stouts. I like more caramels than I do vanilla, so I think a caramel chocolate pastry stout, barrel aged pastry stout. I think that would be a very fun, challenging one to try to do.
I don't. You
Off the
don't.
top of
I
my
guess you
head,
do
I think
get
that'd be
some
fun.
caramel in some of them, but not a ton. I don't. I feel like because the caramel
No.
being just like toasted sugar, essentially, I think that gets pulled out
Yep.
with the fermentation process. So
Mhm.
the way you'd have to add that is kind of on the back, or not on the back end necessarily, but like artificially. But
There's
I've had a
candy
few that
sugars
I've
I was thinking
liked.
about trying. Yeah.
The-
No. What was that one? Isn't that Vietnamese one? Is that caramel? Or no? I can't remember
I don't
now.
think so.
I don't think so.
It's
Okay.
Perrin's.
There was a salted caramel one of it.
Right.
Of the
I've had
no rules.
yeah. Yeah, we didn't like that one. We actually, neither one of us really
Mhm.
liked it. I think it was too salt. It was very, very salty.
Mhm.
So like salt forward, and then
Yep.
caramel was just like a, there goes caramel. He's hiding in the
Afterthought.
back. He's underneath that
Definitely
pile of
afterthought.
salt. Jason, you didn't hate it though, did you, or did you not have it?
I haven't had. I gave Jeremy. I think I gave Jeremy one of my bottles of the
You
salted
did,
caramel,
yeah.
and I haven't tried
Yep.
mine yet. But Mike, you were when you were last in my basement a couple weeks ago. You were saying that I need to drink some of those no rules because the older ones weren't too good. So
No, it was 16. Jeremy and I had, we went somewhere, and it was borderline undrinkable. It had no flavor
Mhm.
other than just hot and like alcohol. It was like an
Yeah.
alcohol burn with no
Alcohol. Yeah.
flavor. 17
well,
was a little bit better. 18 was back to normal. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
whenever it's not 90 degrees out, I'll open this.
Yeah, you might need to do one of those like drink or pour parties where you like
Yeah.
bring a bunch of stuff over to somebody's house, and then just if you drink it, drink it. If not, pour it, just to clean out some of that stuff in your basement. I'm finding that depending on how stuff was stored, or depending on like, so what I think happened, and I feel like this happened with Jeremy and I, when we left our beer in the car, it wasn't even that hot. It wasn't in the sun. It was in like an enclosure, and I think it ruined a lot of beer. Plus, they were old to begin with, some of them, so like they just were super super gross.
For the most part, the stuff that's been living in my basement for these years have been okay because it stays. It's like what 60 degrees down there consistently, so it's mostly okay. I mean, I had old IPAs that I was still drinking, and at this point, I just gave them away to my friend who I think just drank them all. But they were those were pretty churned. I feel I was getting some bubble guts after drinking one of them.
Right, and they aren't even supposed to last that long. Like you're
No,
not
they're not.
supposed
No,
to
you're
like
definitely
keep
not. You're
a
not supposed to age them.
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you were looking. I have that the 2014 or 2015 bottle of Bourbon County that it's probably not good anymore.
Bourbon County, I think, it's not as sweet. So then maybe you're not going to lose as much of the sweetness in it, because I think that's what's happening to the Perrins, is because they're still sweet when they're done. It's still like slowly eating all that sugar and then just turning it into alcohol. Or at least it's dissipating for sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I would definitely drink those parents. Yeah, like Mike was saying, it was different. It definitely got better because I think we've had what 16 through 18 or 16 through 19, something like that.
Yeah, I think we had 20 and 21 when you were here last, but now I can't
If we
remember.
did,
Yeah.
maybe, but I mean, they definitely got better for sure. I feel like them being a few years old was good as well too, but being
Yeah, I've
6, 7 years old, it might be
I've
just a tad
decided
bit
that
too
I'm not
long.
keeping anything that's like longer than 5 years. Like 5 years is going to be like the cutoff to like, you need to start drinking this or it's going to go bad. And I'd rather not like waste a $25 to $30 bottle of something
Right.
just because I'm trying to
Exactly,
save
right.
it, because I don't feel like I don't feel like, well, it's more like I feel guilty for opening and enjoying something versus like
Mhm.
actually enjoying it. And then like we find out like we buy all this stuff, and then like there's like 6 months that you can't really drink it. Like from, I would say, May to around September,
Right.
October. October is about the earliest that you're going to want to start drinking that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's
Right.
pretty nuts.
Well, we're drinking this, and it's warm out mid July or end of July.
Yeah,
This is
we
on
have
the
a common.
border.
I think
This
that's
is
why.
like, yeah, this isn't, it's still clean and crisp, but it's not too
No,
it's
no,
not
no.
too over.
This is fine. I also have the air blowing right on me, so it's
There you
cooling me
go. I
down
mean,
as I get toasty here.
I definitely had beers for the seasons and stuff like that for the most part. But like, you go to homebrew clubs and stuff like that, like I do. So people bring whatever they have or whatever they
Mm.
want to get rid of. So like, you can start off with like nice, clean, crisp. Yeah, that's not a word. Lagers or their pilsners or whatever. Then next thing you know, I guess somebody's got like this imperial stout they've had aging for like 6 months and wants somebody to try it. And like, oh, try it. You're like, oof. that's thick. That's heavy. And then you go back to like some sour all of a sudden, or you try
Yeah.
some meat, or just whatever they bring, you know. So, like I went to last Thursday. I went to my buddy's brewery. We had a homebrew meetup out there. They had their saison, which was pretty good, and then I tried their stout, which is about done. It was an Irish dry stout, is what it was. Um, but it was weird because I just drank a really nice, crisp, clean mead, and then I drank that, and it was just gonna throw up my taste buds for a while. So I just had to drink water for a while to kind of wash all that stout flavor off my palate, so I could enjoy stuff. Well, it was good though. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Did you have a recipe that you wanted to go over with this one? Oh, it says share
Oh
your
yeah,
brew
I can just
father
talk
one.
about
Yep.
my recipe. That's just easier.
Okay.
I definitely need to make some modifications to it, so I'll just kind of cover like the grain build and stuff like that. So I end up using 8.5 pounds of Mare's Otter, which is a little more expensive malt, but I like it. I ended up using 10 ounces of Munich 1 and 10 ounces of Munich 2, which are just two different types of Munich malts, which I don't know, that doesn't really help much. Basically, what that ends up adding was like, I think more like caramely kind of flavors, if I remember correctly, to it. So I definitely helped out a little bit. I used 6 ounces of chocolate malt. That's why it's so dark. Um, I didn't. It didn't get caramel like I wanted. I had to use oh, I can't think of the other one right now, but it's for head retention. It's to just help out with that. I think that's why you saw that you did have head. The problem with anything that has oils in it, like coconut, like head retention just goes away. It doesn't stick. End up using about 4 ounces of flaked oats, which is usually what you use in stouts and stuff. It kind of gives it that slick and body and heaviness to it and stuff like that. I didn't want it too heavy. I was going to use more. And then for hops, I ended up using like three different ones. I ended up using Magnum, which is kind of traditional. That's at the 60-minute boil. Those for bittering. I use Pride of Ringwood, which I've never heard of before. That may have been a bad choice because that was like 14 IBU right there. I probably could have skipped it. And then for like the last 30 minutes, I'm using Cascade, which is like another traditional hops. That was more for aroma, not much flavor. Um, so I don't feel like you really need a lot of hops for a whole lot of flavor in your stouts. I think you want more just the bittering agents of it to knock
Mhm.
down a lot of the maltiness and stuff like that to it. So if I were to do it the way I wanted to do it, I would have bought like a good bourbon, like I said before. I would have got like a vanilla bean, and I would have made a tincture, all that, about 250 milliliters. Then just let that sit for like a week, and then I would just pour that in there. I didn't feel like doing it, or actually just like spending the money on it. So I found a nice bourbon that had it in there, and I used that instead. Then I used 600 grams of coconut, toasted that to kind of bring the flavor up a little bit. This was the first time I get to use SO4 yeast, which you guys always hear me talk about USO USO5 all the time. So USO4, it will bring a lot more of the fruity esters forward a little bit. I was kind of hoping that would just help would bring again the coconut and vanilla more forward on the palate, which yeah, kind of missed that mark a little bit. But um, I think it's all right recipe. I don't think I would change much of it. Maybe the mash temperature. I mashed at 152. I may bump that down to 150 instead, just to draw more sugars out and stuff like that. But the bottom thing I'd change in it. So that's my recipe.
Would you make it again?
If somebody asked, yeah.
Gave him a gift card for all the grain.
Right.
Yes.
Grains are us. Maybe they have
Right.
yeah.
You know, I would make
It's
it again. Like I said, I would want to get rid of that one hops for sure, and then maybe lower the mash temperature.
yeah. Yeah, I think this is something that would be fun to brew together, like to come up there and hang out with you all day and do something like this and kind of I feel like I don't know. Besides the cleaning aspect of it, there probably isn't a whole hell of a lot that you could really use a lot of help on other than like drinking beer
Yeah,
while you're sitting and
stirring,
yeah,
pulling out the mash bag. I need all that help.
right, picking out all the coconut as you spill it in there again.
Yes. Yes.
But it full circles me back to the Saugatuck thing where they have like that, like you literally just pay them. It's a set fee, so like whatever you're gonna make is gonna, within reason, they say they'll get the grain for you and like prep it all for you, and then age it, or not age it, but like they'll ferment it and then bottle it for you, and it's 10 gallons or something. So it's like $300, which, or something similar to that. So it's a little expensive, but for 10 gallons of beer, that's not bad. It's just the getting it.
And
to
they handle
people.
everything else, all right. Yours there to brew, which basically you're just dumping in stuff and machines spin it and everything like that. But it would be interesting. Like, I don't know, maybe
I think
one
it'd
weekend.
be fun to try stuff that you wouldn't like to try. Like that's why I asked you about the grain bill. I'm like, because it'd be fun to like pick out all your stuff and then like not have to worry as much about it. So like split the cost like two, three or four ways or whatever, and then it's like we all have input, and then we kind of get like a big thing, and then I'll go out there and grab it and distribute it or drink it, whatever comes first.
I think a stout would be a fun thing to do, just because we could let it sit for a while, and not because again it's 10 gallons. I mean, it's 3 gallons per person, which doesn't sound like a whole lot. It's still quite a lot of beer. And if we did like an IPA, we would have a shorter shelf life.
And you
Like,
guys would
And
get
also
5 gallons each.
Right. One of us doesn't like IPAs too much.
Yeah, but if we did
Milkshake
that
one.
one though,
Milkshake one.
yeah, if we did that like the strawberry milkshake one, like that
Yeah.
was amazing.
You'd
and
like that.
I would drink that, but that's something you can't let sit because you'll get bubble gut.
Right. You're
What
getting
were you gonna say,
20. You're well. Do you know with that? Do you work with a brewer to
think-
brew a recipe, like figure out a recipe, or is it you're on your own? You just
I
give them
think
a
that
recipe.
they'll probably work with you. I would assume. I didn't talk to him. Maybe I'll talk to him the next time I go out there.
You can always email them.
Yeah, because I think it'd be fun to like to work with their master brewer, at least in email form, and be like, hey, I'm looking to do this, and these are the flavors I'm trying to get out of it. Especially because Jeremy's coming from a background of knowing what he wants more specifically, but then they might have an idea like, well, we don't have like the dishwashing detergent Cascade hops, but if you add these ones, it won't give you that IBUs that you didn't like from the last one, and that kind of stuff.
True.
So, yeah, I think that would be really fun to experience that in a more controlled environment. For me, anyway. Just
Also,
so
you
I
don't have to clean
do all that.
shit.
Yeah,
I assume
that's
that
what I
they
was
do.
gonna say, because I don't want it to clean anything. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, this is our 24th episode. So this is actually going to come out after our 25th episode, but we are planning on doing something special for our 25th episode. So stay tuned in the past, but future. Ooh, I could. Yeah.
You release short.
Yeah, I'll snip a short and post this up.
They get an overlay of the music from like Back to the Future.
Dang it! I even got like a thing to like push a button and play music, and I totally forgot. Sorry, guys. You've gotten music like 4 out of the 24 episodes.
Funny. Do you think your dad would drink this one? I'm curious.
Yeah,
Probably
my
say
mom
that's
would
a
love
lot.
it. My mom would absolutely love it. She loves
There
coconut.
you go.
Yeah, yeah. I should.
There you go,
give
Dar.
them, I should
Just
give
for
them
you.
one. I could actually give them one, so when they watch this episode, they can drink it. They actually really do enjoy doing that. Yeah, I had to give them my the blueberry cream one because I had an extra one, and they're like, "That looks delicious," and then I was like, "Okay, you could have my last one." No, I wanted to give it to them because they're gonna watch this and be like, "Whatever, jerk," and then give it back to me. Yeah,
Drank my last one last night.
that was tasty. Alrighty, I want to say thanks everybody for tuning in. It's been fun for us at least. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. And I wanted to just send a thanks. And don't forget to have a pint with your pals. I had to read it. I forgot what I was supposed to say.
I got to read mine too. It says I messed up that one time. Please drink responsibly.
And please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Give us some comments and questions. What would you like to see?
Mm-hmm.
Cheers.
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 Almost.